Recording is in progress
Okay.
now.
All right. We are here with Tim Cliss. He's an author and a poet.
I'm a poet.
He's
Yeah.
formerly known as this deafening silence.
Formerly
And
known. Yeah, the artist.
Formerly.
No,
and
it's not. Can I just correct you? It's not formerly. I'm currently known as that.
oh, still? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Tell me a point.
Well, wait.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, let me ask the first question. The
Okay.
first question is, have you ever thought of going with one name, like Cher, Madonna?
Of course, everyone's thought of that. I did think Prince. That's been taken. Artist formerly known as,
Yeah.
and
But it's formal.
well,
It's
you've
formally.
taken
So
and
that
you've
means you can
taken.
use it now.
Then I thought King, but then you've taken it and added baby to it. Yeah, one name is
But
it's easy to remember, isn't it?
why can't you be King Baby Junior?
Ah, King Baby Prince. No, because that'd be subordinate to me, and he wouldn't like that.
Yeah, it's very pretentious, the one name thing, though, isn't it? I mean,
Let's see. Um, oh, and full disclosure, Tim, I'm thinking about creating a non-duality police, a Gestapo kind of organization.
I can see you running that.
and and like, what are your credentials? What is the qualification for a
What
speaker?
to speak about
Is
this?
is it a and a camera and a microphone? Is that all we need?
Well, you don't really need that, do you? Because you could just sit and speak to yourself, or you know, make your family suffer by talking to them about it.
Yeah, like me.
Go down the pub and make your friends suffer by having to listen to the shit. No, you don't need any credentials. None. There are no qualifications, which is great.
So anybody can do it. I can do it.
Ironically, in the past, of course, everyone who spoke, it had to be you had to be verified by a master. You know, you had to be validated by, as a disciple, you had to be a follower of a master, and then the master would say when you are ready to speak.
But you're making it sound like it's a religion.
Well,
and from what I understand, it's not
the
a
thing
religion.
is, no, not at all. That's why I'm saying there's no master, there's no qualification. But that is how it used to be, you could say. Traditionally, Advaita and Buddhism would be similar, Zen Buddhism. You would have to get the master to say you were ready, and if you weren't ready, then you didn't get the credentials. You weren't ready, and so you couldn't speak.
Yeah. It's like unavoidable. Like, to me, it's kind of fascinating because the whole setup, and there's no other way to do it, really. The whole setup is, Tim, it's up on a pedestal. We come to listen. Even though he says, I got nothing for you, there's nothing to get,
Yeah.
and it can be heard, I got something. And that's very fascinating to me. It's like a circus promoter trying to promote, come look at the geek, and look at, and really promoting it. But this is the inverse of that, which is like, there's nothing here, and then people come anyways.
Yeah,
like, wow.
Not many though.
But why? Why do they come?
Yeah, I mean, that is intriguing, but there isn't I don't know there's a way around that.
Right.
The only way around it is to not speak, which would be fine. It would be fine. The reason I speak about it is I enjoy speaking about it. There's pleasure.
You enjoy speaking about nothing?
Yeah, I do.
And I enjoyed listening to him.
I know you do. And I
The
enjoy
thing is,
badgering you
I mean,
about
this
it.
is, I mean, there's plenty of things to go and listen to where you're going to get something. I mean, isn't it? It's quite a nice novelty to go and listen to something where the one who's telling you something is telling you that they're telling you nothing.
Mhm.
So would you say that, not in your opinion, non-duality is a way of not to feel anything?
Not
Wait, say
fulfilling.
not to feel it. I'm sorry, my accent sucks.
Dude.
Not to feel emotion.
Oh no, not at all. No. I think there are some, you could say there's some aspects of non-duality in the way some people have spoken about it and do speak about it, that it can sound like some kind of avoidance, but it's not avoiding feeling. You could say, one that I get accused of gaslighting and saying there's no one responsible.
Yes.
I had it the other week. Somebody accused me of gaslighting the other Saturday in London. Said, well, you're just gaslighting, aren't you? And I went, well, the thing is, I trained in psychotherapy, so I've got a pretty good idea what that is. And it's in no way is it gaslighting, because I'm not saying I'm not responsible. I'm saying there's no responsibility. That's not the same thing. Gaslighting is saying I'm not responsible, but you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no gaslighting in saying there's no one to be responsible for anything.
Right.
I want to start like with some basics, and we can jump around too. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But all right, let's do. Can you define me or the individual?
Yeah,
Can you,
I can have a go. When I say about me, the illusion that I speak about, when I'm saying the illusion is that there is an entity, which I call me, that lives in this body, that possesses this body, that this body is owned by, the owner of everything that this body is. So that includes all the feelings, all the thoughts, all the actions, all the intentions, everything that this body does is owned by me. This sense of possession. I possess this. It's funny that the whole notion of possession, that a human being could be possessed, is a satanic idea. Whereas we take for granted that every human being is possessed by a spirit, one might say an evil spirit, called me. And that's what we say is the norm. And what I want to say to everybody is, well, have a look, see if you can find yourself.
okay, and then
I
okay.
will say, as a definition of me, I would say it's the bodily felt sense. So I don't think that me is a thought or a belief. It's much more than that. It's actually a feeling, a bodily felt sense of being inside the body. And everything else that's not me is outside. So I'm this, and everything else is that.
Well, you just described a person.
Pardon?
Yes.
You just described a person.
No, I described how it is to be me. You could say the person if you want, yeah.
But that's the same thing as everybody. Everybody feels that that they have something in them. It's the
They
self.
don't.
It's a person. How do you just described it?
Not everybody. Not everybody does feel that.
Okay, well, maybe not everybody, but most sane people do.
Nearly. You're right. Nearly everybody.
Nearly everybody
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
describes that. But yet in non-duality, you guys talk about there is no self. So how does that even function in that reality that you
Yeah.
have?
Well, the whole illusion is that what I say, what self says, is that without me, nothing would happen, because I'm doing everything. I'm making all this shit happen. Self is so self-absorbed and think it's so important that without me, nothing would get done, nothing would happen, because I'm doing everything.
Well, yeah, because if you're dead, nothing's going to happen. So
No,
yeah,
I don't
there has
mean.
to be
No.
a
Well,
body.
Yeah, that's
what
a
I'm
good-
suggesting is there's no I to die. There's no you to die.
There's no you to die. So you're saying there's no soul, pretty much.
Oh well, soul is an idea. Soul is a lovely. I am saying there's no soul, yeah, because
Ooh.
soul is a lovely
The
idea.
soulless? That's sad.
Absolutely. No, I'm not soulless. I'm saying human
Well, you
beings.
just
are
said yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because soul is an idea that human beings
Okay.
have about themselves, that so that when their body dies, I don't die.
So same as non-duality.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
so then there is no me. All right, then okay, what is this?
Huh? He just said there was a me. He said there's a self. There's a
Yeah,
person.
there is and there isn't. Yes.
So then how do you not have a self? You have a self in there. Maybe not a soul, but you got a self.
Well, the thing is, there isn't. If you don't have a self, you definitely don't have a soul.
Then you
Because
don't have a
you
body.
need someone
Not
to
living.
have a soul, don't you?
That's
It's someone. There needs to be someone to have a soul. A soul is another form of possession, isn't it?
Pretty much. Kind of like the self.
It's something that I have that could live after the body. It's the idea that, okay, that what self really hates the idea, or can't even contemplate the idea that there's only this body. Because if there's only this body, then of course I will die when the body dies. So what has me come up with the idea? I've come up with this great idea that I'm not just the body, but I am the body, but I'm also the soul. And so death will not be the end of me. And every religion has an idea, a different concept. They're all the same, basically, of an afterlife, either
Right.
reincarnation or heaven or hell. Every religion has some form of continuation after bodily death.
Yeah.
Because it's a comfort for me.
Gotcha.
And then so then some people talk about this. What is this?
Mm.
Do you talk about this? I can't remember.
I talk about this far too much, but there isn't a word for everything and nothing, is there? So when I say this, all I'm saying is all there is. So I will say things like, this is all there is.
Mm-hmm.
This is all there is.
And by this, I mean, you could say, I mean now and here, rather than there and then. But of course, what I mean is that there and then are this too. You know, so this is quite rational. I can speak about it rationally. It won't necessarily make sense, but if you think what the past is, the past, when we talk about the past, really we're talking about memories. And where and when do memories occur? Memories occur here and now, or not. So if there are no memories of the past is non-existent. And if there are memories of the past, then the past is existent as a memory, but only when it's happening. You know full well that you can, so every human being experiences times when you're living very much in the present, you could say, and then there's times when you're very much in the past, when you're really deep in memory and what has been, you know, especially when there's sadness and there's mourning. It's particularly in the loss of a loved one. Then there's a lot, but of course that isn't the past. That's happening now, when it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the past is always present.
Right.
And the future is exactly the same. If you're in thoughts about tomorrow, the thoughts about tomorrow aren't tomorrow, they're happening. You know, and they're just imagination. And they both anxiety and fear about tomorrow and mourning and grief of the past, they're very emotionally charged. They're very emotional. there's a lot of emotion, and the emotion gives them the sense of reality. But they're only real because they're mine. So my past is real. I'll doubt your past. If you tell me what happened to you, I'm not really interested. No human being is. Not really.
Why?
They're
I
not.
would be interested.
No, you wouldn't be. You could
would.
pretend.
I
You could
really
pretend
would.
to be interested. You could pretend to be interested. But
Well, no, because I
every
like that kind of thing. I like hearing about people's past, but you know,
I'm
and it's
being a bit devil's advocate, but self is very self-absorbed in that it's my life that's real, and of course I infer your real life from the reality that I give to mine. So my past is real, so of course your past is real.
Mhm. Okay. You know, speaking about real and unreal, I liked your chapter on no duality or non-duality. And there you say like even non-duality doesn't exist.
No,
It says oneness suggests that there is oneness to be found, and there is a passion here to share that there isn't a oneness to be found, which is you're describing like why you like to talk about it. But you also talk about how there really is no non-duality or duality.
no, there's
That's
no
just
non-duality.
comparing.
No, because
That's a
non-duality.
comparison.
I mean, I would rather we didn't ever mention non-duality and to never speak about it again, really. Never use that term, because non-duality is just saying the word, the phrase non-duality is just in response to what we call normal human perception or normal human understanding of reality, which is me and everything else, which is duality. So that how most human beings feel the reality of life is that there's me separate from everyone else and separate from everything else. So life is happening to me. Well, there's two big separations. One is life is happening to me, and the other is that I possess a life, and so I have a life. So that have a life immediately makes the rest of life not my life. That's the separation. That's the duality. So the duality is I have a life, and it's a small little life. It's just encased in this body. And then the rest of the universe is life, but it's not mine. That's the separation. That's duality. So non-duality just says that's not true. No matter how true it feels. And that's why this is so unpopular, because for most human beings, they never even doubt that they could have got this really wrong.
Okay. It's like I hate to say it this way, but it's like when the sperm impregnates the egg, it the idea blocks any other idea from coming in.
Oh.
Of maybe I'm just describing a belief. I'm like, I can't tell. But it's just hard to conceptualize that because it's not.
That sperm goes into an egg.
No, that describes a belief, like the belief that you are someone. It cannot see anything else.
But
You're right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Eligio. And I mean, so I had 10 years, you could say, doing what you're doing, really, which is listening to people and asking questions and trying to understand. So what I'm speaking about didn't come through understanding. it didn't come really, which is funny that I'm saying come when you've talked about the sperm and the egg, actually, now I think.
Oh my God.
But that's a joke just between us. Um,
And all of the internet.
oh dear, and the whole of the internet. Because I was always thinking that, well, the only way that self can approach this is to try and understand. But you're so right. From the point of view of me as a separate, feeling separate, you can't not feel separate, because that is how it is. And so I'm never telling anyone that, that's why I can't come up with a suggestion of how you can lose yourself, Elysia, and there are plenty of other speakers who, you can find loads of paths, that non-duality paths, not this message, but there's non-duality messages that will help you find a way to become awakened or enlightened, and to lose the ego self is how often it's spoken about. But there can't be a way, because if there's a way to do this, then of course, well, you need a past for a start,
So that's
So,
where the sperm and egg.
I mean, the most incredible thing is that nothing ever happened.
Well, something had to happen for that sperm to get into the
Baby,
egg. What?
forget that analogy.
No, it's not.
No, I
mean,
think
you're saying nothing happened.
we might be stuck with the sperm and the egg for the rest of the night, I think.
I hope
no.
not. Let's see. Sorry I brought that up.
Well, because I'm trying to understand what you're talking about with the sperm
Oh
and egg.
dear.
Well, it goes to like okay, so what we're doing here is we're going into the field of concepts, and in order to do that,
Like how far back your self goes?
well, when we speak, it's a concept. When we think, it's a concept.
It's a perception.
Okay,
Right.
and I guess it's another way to describe it. It's like it's hard to describe belief and non-belief. They're they're polar opposites, and in thinking, that's a binary thought. And so to say it's a belief, it's a non-belief is what I'm trying to describe. It's like, how do you tell someone it's not a belief? Is hard to.
Well, the thing
That's
is,
the
I
question.
think, yeah, I don't. I mean, you kind of just have to. Whoever's speaking about it, you have to take their word for it, don't you? Because you're never going to know. So if I say to you, what I'm speaking about is not a belief, you're likely, from the point of view of self, you're not likely to believe me, because self lives in a story of beliefs, really. And so if I'm speaking about this, I must believe what I'm saying is true. It must be a belief. So I'm describing a belief system or a series of beliefs, but that's not how it feels at all. And I don't know about you, but I mean, it would be quite difficult to actually convey what a belief is to another being that has never had any beliefs. What is a belief? That's not easy to to get to the crux of what we actually mean by that. I think what I mean is that this is much more intuitive rather than intellectual. And although it sounds intellectual sometimes when it's being spoken about, the sense that I have when I'm speaking is that it's like intuitively known without any knowledge or understanding. You don't need to understand what's being said to get it. Most people have a problem with listening to this because it sounds nonsensical, and it sounds contradictory, and it sounds paradoxical, and it is all those things. But there is those who do listen to this and say it resonates, or yeah, I don't really understand it, but on some level I get it. It's that on some level I get it that can't be spoken about.
So do you say that it's more for people who are lost?
I think you would have to be, yeah, Yeah, I would say that.
Um,
Not necessarily, but most people who come to this only come to it having failed many, many times in their search.
But why search?
is that okay? That's
Whatever
okay,
they're
that's
searching for.
seeking.
So the most people who come to this have been searching for these abstract ideas like truth,
Mhm.
the truth, not any old truth, the truth, reality, not any old normal reality, but the reality.
Mhm.
You know, there's nearly everyone who comes to this, they've done a lot of that. And everyone's path, everyone's story of what the way they've tried to find the truth or reality, or maybe they were just looking for peace, you know, peace of mind, peace and rest. And some people just simple happiness, but they've tried you know, they've tried the normal routes of happiness, which are, of course, career, money, relationship. That, you know, that's what we call normal. So they've already, they were already drawn towards what is normally called spiritual in some form or another, or maybe psychological. And there's a big overlap between that psychological seeking and spiritual seeking. They're pretty much the same, really. They're different words for the same, trying to understand what the fuck is going on.
Nothing's going on though.
I mean,
Why
some,
search?
I mean, a lot, and other people, they never ask what the fuck is going on. They just don't. They just, it's very acceptant. But for some human beings, they don't accept what everyone's told them. You know, the truth that you've been told, for some human beings, it's not, it just doesn't sit well. And you've always questioned it. I'm guessing you've always questioned everything, Eligio. I did.
Right. And so it goes back to, like she was asking earlier, it's not a form to detach. It's not a detachment thing. It's not a
No, no, because detachment is just a strategy for me, isn't it? Detachment is, so if I try and detach myself from, especially from feelings, right? What self doesn't like are emotions. Generally, self doesn't like emotions because I can feel in control of my thoughts. Most selves feel that they can manage thoughts, but emotions, they know full well they come out of the blue from nowhere, and
But they're great.
you know, they're messing with my life. There I am, I've got everything all sorted out, and then emotions come and I'm a fucking mess.
Yeah.
But it's how you feel.
Yeah.
That's how you live.
But they seem to be like pulling some kind of string. The emotions kind of make you do things sometimes,
Mm,
or direct you or control you at times.
yeah.
And it doesn't really matter, I guess, at the end. But they're there, and it's like
Yeah,
I'm not pushing them away or anything anymore. Because, like you were saying earlier, it's like, and I like this concept of the last house on the block. Have you heard that?
yeah,
And that seems
I've heard this
the
spoken about as that many times. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, because so
yeah, yeah. It's the, well, it is the end of the road, because the end of the road is that there isn't a road. That's the end of the road.
Well, because there's no more road if it's the end.
There's no more road.
That's why it's called the end of the road.
Yeah, but
there
you
was
know, but you look, the thing is with this road though,
there's
not only is it the end of the road, you look behind you and there's no road behind you either.
there never
And then
was.
you look down at your
There was
feet.
a road there because you got there
No,
by the
no,
road.
no, there's the story of how you got there, but the road's not there. If you look round, okay, look behind you now. Is there a road behind you?
Yeah.
There is not. There's some
There
doors.
is
I can
it's
see them.
right there. I see it. It's there. My car is literally parked right there.
Oh, actually, that's the
It's on
driveway.
the road.
Uh,
There's gravel. It's a gravel road up to the house. It's there. I know it's there.
no, but all joking apart, that is what I'm speaking about. That is how it is. There is no road to getting here.
So I mean, yeah, like you said, and then well, I don't know how to say this. Sometimes it feels like it's like non-duality is like a big so what. The big so what. So
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
I mean, just like
But it is a so what, but all the so whats are also allowed. Yeah, they're all included, you know. So I get what you're saying, because it can feel like, you know, just apathy. But then whatever there's passion for, whatever there's motivation to do, that's all included, you know. So it is there. I know what you mean about the so what. And that's why sometimes people say that this is nihilistic, you know, completely negative. But it's not at all. It's utterly neutral. So all the positives, you know, what self usually talks about as good stuff, like self-esteem and being motivated and, you know, being successful and enjoying life and, I don't know, all the good stuff. This isn't excluding any of the what selves call good stuff. It's just not saying the bad stuff is excluded. Whereas what self wants to do all the time is have the good stuff and try and get rid of all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And
so
trying to avoid the bad stuff is the suffering.
Yeah.
Bad stuff is, you know, bad stuff. Shit happening is utterly inevitable. Everyone knows this. Every self knows it, but then spends most of its time and energy and focus and everything about being human is to try and avoid it happening. Well, I think everyone knows, regardless of all your efforts, shit happens. You know, illness happens, aging happens, dying happens, all the things that self tries to deny by its efforts. And really, the suffering, there is pain in all of that, but the suffering is in the denial of it, that it shouldn't be that way. Well, it is that way.
So, okay, so you're pretty much, you say like the self is what you, it's like a perception, right? Is pretty much.
It's a what, sorry?
Perception. Technically.
It's more than a perception, because it is, I mean, it's.
Okay, so how would it, because if you break it down like you were saying about with the sperm and egg, yes, we're going back there. You come out, you're a baby, and you are learning what everybody else has taught you. And then you'll get to a point to where you will start to think on your own. But technically, that is what you perceive that what you are, because that's what everybody has already taught you to be. So technically, that's not really you, because you were actually taught that to be that way. Do you understand?
Sounds like a program.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You are the program.
So how do you fix the self to be better if that's all that you've been perceived to be is something else?
Oh.
Well, I'm not saying that, you know, self can be better. I'm saying self is a complete illusion, that there isn't a self. So one of the reasons, the most freeing thing about this is there isn't me to be better or worse.
But you
And
just
there
said there
isn't,
was a you in the beginning.
and there isn't you to be better or worse.
But you just said there was a self in the beginning of this. You said there was a self. That there was a self in you. Oh, don't! I will rewind this and I will play it back. It said you.
No,
you were
no, there'd be
self
no. There's illusion of self.
there.
Yeah, there's the illusion of self.
No, you can't throw an illusion. You didn't throw an illusion before. You said there was one in you.
Did I say that? I didn't say that. Because the one
Wait,
thing
I'm
that
gonna put that on repeat on the
Okay.
thing. I'm gonna put a repeat. I'm
well,
gonna put it on repeat.
okay,
are we
go on.
are we sentient hunter gathering meat puppets?
I don't go. I never use the puppet analogy
Oh
because
no, you never use that.
I never use a puppet. No, because a puppet
Interesting.
needs a puppeteer, doesn't it? There's
Yeah,
someone,
okay.
that's what I was gonna say. You have to
Okay.
have
you
somebody
know.
there pulling your
So
string.
the puppet
Okay.
thing, the puppet thing is too godlike. You know, it needs God basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it needs a source. It needs a puppeteer. So I'm saying there's no puppeteer.
Oh, okay.
So there aren't any puppets. You know, but I would say I would just say we're animals. So we're apes with far too bigger brains. And these great big frontal lobe, this frontal cortex has been able to create this sense of autonomy,
Yeah.
this sense of self-awareness.
Yeah. Which at times it seems like a parasite. Saying parasite makes it feel like it's a negative thing. Again, so it's like just another concept to that creates an opposite, which is fine. It's so
Well,
hard.
I mean, there are some theories. As quite 2 or 3 speakers I used to go and listen to, always said that, you know, if they, when they were asked, Tony said it, I'm pretty sure, Richard definitely did, Richard Sylvester said that it's an evolutionary advantage, this sense of self, because with a sense of self, human beings were very self-centered. You know, they were about, when you're a self-aware, it makes you hyper vigilant, hyper alert. Whereas, you know, you think of a cat that you would think is naturally very alert, but because it doesn't have any self-awareness, I mean, a cat's not looking out for itself the same way that a self is, a human being. So it's
Yeah, they met my cat.
I know what you mean.
Damn thing won't
I
shut
pick
up all
cats
the
because
time.
they're notoriously selfish, but of course cats aren't selfish because I don't know. I'm pretty sure they don't have a sense of self.
But you don't know because you're not a cat.
I have no idea who knows
But they
what it's
can
like to be a
communicate.
cat.
So how can there not be a self within them if there's communication between
Well,
cats?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. The wonder of this is I don't know anything about anything that I'm speaking about. Which makes it different from most. You know, you go to see a speaker, the first thing you're expecting is they're qualified, which Eligio pointed out at the beginning, there's no qualifications. I'm not qualified.
You need to put that on your
secondly, that they do, even if they're not qualified, they've you know, they've got some, they haven't got written qualifications, but they've studied hard and they've got a really good understanding. The thing about this as a subject, of course, it isn't about understanding, even though it might sound like it.
And saying that, have you thought about having canned answers to the questions that you hear over and over? Just to have a little button you press and
well, no, because I don't know, maybe it's because I was a teacher a long time. I always tried to respond to whoever's asked the question. I'm not responding really to the question. I'm responding like on a human level, you could say. I'm responding to who's asking the question rather than the question itself.
And that's how, like, you know, these old writings from oh shit, I forgot, whoever the old teachers, and that people try to translate them in English, is like they don't know what the guy was actually saying to that individual, like just like you're describing. It's like you
I
have
really do agree with that, and they say that a lot about Nisargadatta Maharaj, because he contradicted himself a lot, because he just always was speaking at the level that he thought the person he was speaking to would benefit from. He was always trying to, he always said that he tailored his answers to whoever who was asking the question.
Right.
And the reason why you can't have canned answers is because there's no answers. You know, you can only have canned answers if there are correct answers. There aren't any correct answers at all.
Yeah, I was just trying to make your job easier. That's okay.
Well, I couldn't do this. If there, Elijah, if there were correct answers to the questions, who would do this then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you had the correct answers, you would have to know the answers to everything, because I'm speaking about everything.
I have the correct answers. Women know everything.
Yes,
Well,
I do, baby.
do you know, I have met a
Of
few
course.
women who have said that to me.
And you haven't listened.
And I've always found that it's best to keep
Agreed.
quiet.
See, you're a very, very smart man.
I'm not very smart. I've often said something to the contrary.
Okay.
Mm.
Well,
So,
oh, go ahead.
do I get to ask questions?
Oh, of
now?
course. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I have a question for new people that are coming in and watching like this video or other videos. What would you say to them for them not to think this is a cult or a religion?
I missed the last bit.
What would you say to them for them not to think that this is a cult or a religion?
Right, look at the numbers. You know it's not a cult. Well, if it's a
I
cult,
don't know. There's a lot of people at your meeting last time, and you had the Kool-Aid out.
Baby.
Wow.
I wanted to try to make him cry.
Right, well, it's not prescriptive. It can't be a cult or a religion. Simply, very simply, it's not prescriptive in any way. It's not prescribing. I don't make any suggestions about what you should or shouldn't do. Well, how on earth is it a religion or a cult if I don't do that?
Probably because there's multiple teachers out that are saying pretty much the same thing.
No, but it can't. A religion, by definition, is giving you a set of rules.
Oh, hold on. I can read you the religion, what a religion is, because I brought this up to him about.
Okay, go on then. I don't
says-
think this fits the definition of a religion. But
just wait.
you tell me the definition, and then I'll say.
Interesting.
I did teach religion really badly, by the way. Did you know that?
No, did you? How'd that
I
work
was a-
out for you?
I was a teacher of religion.
Okay. All right, here we go.
That's a recession.
Oh, fuck. Do you want to know what a recession is?
Oh, man.
Okay, here we go. Religion, the belief in and worship.
Right, stop there.
Wait,
It's
let
not-
me
Yeah,
finish.
I agree
Let
with
me
I agree
finish.
I agree with Tim.
No,
I agree with Tim.
Number
I agree with
one.
Tim.
Number one, not a belief. Okay, carry on.
Oh, okay. Here we go. A particular system of faith and worship.
Right, there's
So-
no worship.
Multiple meanings of multiple people speaking about the same thing, but nothing at all, but the same thing
Is there any worship
with a
involved?
director. So
Okay.
technically that's kind of like a priest in a congregation.
Worship, but
Worship?
Worshiping.
No.
I don't know.
I don't worship Tim.
I'm not thinking.
I've
of
seen,
I
I've seen
I mean, I
people
wouldn't
cry,
mind.
and I've seen
wouldn't mind if
people
Eligio worshipped me,
happy,
but I don't think he
and
is.
I've seen people like literally like almost like they're like they love you so much. So I
Yeah,
mean, some
but
people
yeah,
I feel like they get it confused.
There's a lot of
That's what I'm
difference
saying.
between love and worship.
Isn't that the same thing?
No,
Oh.
No, why not?
love's equal.
Oh yeah, I guess you can. Yeah, well, maybe you're
Mhm.
right on that.
And you know, you need a God.
But do you?
No, but what I'm saying, to be a religion, you do
Oh,
Mhm.
in some shape or form.
Okay. I think I'm out of questions.
Yeah. Oh, I got a ton of questions I can
You-
ask him, but
we
I
got-
don't want to get like smacked in the leg.
No, I mean we can.
He's like, shh, be nice.
no. Yeah, I mean it felt like you were, but
I just wanted to see that little teardrop come down. Or we could go back to the sperm and egg.
oh my God, I hate that I brought that up. Okay, I think we'll wind it down, Tim. But I appreciate your time. It was just kind of fun. I mean,
Oh no, it's nice. I like it because
That's
this is different to. I really like you being here because you're asking questions. Eligio said it's nice to have a normal person. Oh, maybe I said that. Did I say normal? Yeah,
I said civilian.
I'm a
civilian.
normal
You
person.
said, yeah. No,
I
you're
try
not.
to understand it, but
Yeah.
he
There's
says
no-
there's nothing to understand. I said it before you did.
And I'd like to really emphasize that there is no normal.
I just don't get why people can't just. I mean, I don't understand you guys, and I don't understand the religion. I don't really have a religion, but it's just like, why not just go with the flow? Why question it? Why look?
Hmm.
There isn't a reason, but if for some human beings, that looking for is irresistible. You just can't. You
I feel
can't
like
help.
they
You
look
can't
for
help it.
I feel like people who look for something are the people who I guess need the help the most because they're not
okay.
happy or they're depressed or they're sad or they're going through trauma.
Okay,
in their
how
life.
about this? How about this?
You know what reasoning?
How about this? Okay, so yeah, what you are looking for is to stop looking. No, what you are looking for is the absence of looking. It's all one and the same. It's
Yep.
like the seeking energy. What it's looking for is the absence of itself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So then it's not there.
That's nice. I wrote this yesterday. I think it's something like it's almost exactly what you just said. I think I said this is not a finding. This is finding that there's nothing to be found.
That's nice. That's nice.
It's more or less what you just said. Yeah.
That's nice.
Hey, but I do have a question.
Go.
What do you stop touching that stop recording button? Hey, what do you think about psychics and people? I guess what you call them, seers, people who can see things.
Yeah. Mediums.
Yes, mediums. What is your thought process on that? Just curious.
I think the human imagination is incredible.
Oh, you were so awful.
That wasn't an insult.
That wasn't an insult. No, it wasn't.
Because you say you're imagining it when you're not imagining.
You're imagining that it's an insult, baby.
So okay, so like I tell,
Well,
yeah, because it is. So
Okay.
like I tell Eligio, it's
the
like
truth,
there's
right?
been-
The truth is that there's no one knows. But I mean, I've never been interested in that kind of thing. It's not just
So you
you
never
know-
looked into it when
No.
you're studying your non-duality thingy
no.
ever?
No.
I mean,
Do you
wouldn't
know
think you'd
what?
wanna
What
look
one of
into
the
that?
reasons? One of the reasons I don't say, I'm really confident in saying this isn't religious in any way, is I don't think it's spiritual in any way. What I'm talking about is utterly natural. So the way that the sense that this is being spoken about is that I'm talking about nature.
Okay.
That's good. Stop.
Okay. That's good. Thank you so much for your time, Tim.
Oh no, thanks. It's a pleasure.
It was so much fun, actually.
Oh, it's really,
Do it
really,
again.
it's really nice with